Hello there folks, this is Zark and today I'm going to be showing off my Zacian EX deck, and this deck is going to be revolved around Zacian secondary attack Brave Slash. Brave Slash does require 3 metal energy and 1 single colorless energy for your attack, but it does 240 damage, but you are not allowed to attack next turn with this Pokemon's Brave Slash. And there's a lot of ways for you to get around the cooldown for Brave Slash, particularly when you have multiple copies of Zacian in the field. You can switch to a secondary one to use that Brave Slash, or you can use the item of called switch to switch it in the bench, and then after that if you have a Larios you can switch it out again and then start rolling with the same Zacian. But we can increase the damage with Brave Slash from 240 to 333 by adding a Hop Choice Band, Hop Snorlax, and a Post-Wick Stadium, so it gives you around 90 plus damage. So yeah, that's a lot. And when Brave Slash is on cooldown, you can use the instant strike damage to deal 30 damage, but when you have all the damage modifier, it does 120, so that's a lot of damage, and also give you spread damage, so that extra 30 would actually come in handy. Now we're gonna be breaking down the deck list here. Okay, let's start with the Hop Pokemon first. We're gonna be running 2 Hop Zacian EX, 2 Hop Snorlax, and 1 Cramorant, and the rest of the Pokemon will be 4 Duraludon, 3 Charlatan for the energy acceleration, and for our draw engine you can switch in between either one, so Riverbroom or Zorak. For me, I'm gonna be using the Zorak line, and we're gonna be running 2 beats, so 2 Anzuru and 2 Zorak here, and our extra draw would be a Pheasant Deputy EX, and then after that we're gonna be using Larios EX just in case we get locked out on certain Pokemon. And our supporter line would be 3 Arven, 3 Professor Reacher, 2 Iono, 2 Professor Taurus Scenario, 1 Boss's Order, 1 Surfer, and a single copy of Serino. And for our item here, we're gonna be running 4 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, 2 Hops Bag, 2 Night Stretcher, 2 Earthen Vessel, and our ace pick would be Secret Box. And for our item and stadium here would be 3 Hop Choice Band, 3 Post-Wick, and our energy count would be 7 metal energy and 1 jet energy. So let's talk about the damage of the deck. It's going to be Zacian EX followed by Charlatan. These two are very complementary for one another. Particular, Zacian is going to be your frontliner and your Charlatan is going to be your backliner. But in particular, you're going to be using all the metal energy in your Brave Slash for Zacian. But the problem with Zacian is his HP is pretty low. 333 is quite low, and there's a lot of Firemon going up now, like Reshiram followed by Charizard, so those two basically one-shot your Zacian, and yeah, so it's not good for us. That's why you want to sometimes use Charlatan with those matchups, since 300 HP is quite a lot. But either one you can use, but in particular you want to be using Zacian followed by Zacian in the back line, so you can power that one up. So you can pivot with Larios, that's why we have it, so you can get a free switch in. But yeah, that's really strong. But we can follow it up with Cramorant, since the Spicking Fiddle is quite a lot of HP, and with all the damage modifier to it, you're basically rolling it for like a basic mon with 1 prizer. So yeah, you get a lot of damage here. You can also use Snorlax, but that 2 energy, and takes you way too long, so you're better off just switching it. That's why you want to have Larios, so that's why we have Larios in the deck. You can switch all your basic mon and you got a lot of them. The problem with that is your Charlatan might get stuck there. That's why you want to put metal energy to it. But we do have Professor Taurus Scenario here, so you can pull it back up for the Charlatan. So yeah, so it doesn't get locked up. So our draw engine is Zorak here, and Zorak is a very strong mon compared to Riverbroom. Riverbroom is kind of meh. I don't like it because you have to toss energy, and you're only running 7 energy. Compared to Zorak, you can toss anything you want. So you have all your EX, you can toss in a Serino. You don't need a Surfer, you can toss it out, stuff like that. Or you have multiple copies of Duraludon, you can toss it out. So that's why I like Zorak more as your draw engine. And Riverbroom, some people like it, but either one, those two is fine, but it's based on your preference. But for me, it's gonna be Zorak. Then after that, we followed it up with Pheasant Tippy. You always have to have it in your deck no matter what, and you don't want to get smacked, and you need to recover. That's why you have Flip the Script. Flip the Script is a very annoying thing, especially if you're losing, and you can basically build up a second mon right away. That's why flip the script, sometimes it's a game changer. So our ratio count is kind of weird here, since I'm running 3 Arven and 3 supporter. Some people will be running 4, but we're pivoting the extra 2 supporter for a surfer and scenario, because these 2 cards are very strong, since a surfer gave us extra draw, so we want more draw power, but also we can have, you know, a switch, so we can switch benchmon to the active or vice versa, so it's really strong. Not only that, Sereno here, it's a very strong card. It's a very underrated one. I think Drayden also, but those 2 cards are very strong. But either way, I'm running scenario here, since Archalodon, Enzora, Zacian, and Larius EX and Fezzinipity are all EX, and you get 3 copies, so that's 3 out of 5 already. And yeah, so that's why I like to have it. That's why we're not running 4 Arven and research, because you know, you're better off pivoting to a different supporter. But yeah, so Arven is basically a must-have no matter what, so you can get choice band. Research is a must-have, so you can get a fresh hand, especially when you want to toss a bunch of metal energy in the discard file, you know. And then after that, we followed it up with 2 Iono and 2 Presser Toro here. Iono just to disrupt your opponent, just, you know, when you're losing backline and stuff like that. And then after that, Toro is basically to, you know, pick up a bunch of mon, such as Snorlax or Archalodon, for example, because these 2 sometimes get locked in your field, especially when you don't have a Latios. You get price card or something, or you know, they killed it. But yeah, so that's why we're running 2. Plus, you know, you can spam a bunch of Archalodon in the same turn too. So if you already have a Duraludon already in that, you know, the bench, and you don't have a pressure Archalodon, you can just press it up and then put it back in, and then get yourself a second energy, so you get like 2 free metal energy in play. And you know, if you have metal energy, so yeah. And I wish I can have more bosses order here. 1 bosses order is okay, but I wish to have 2, but it's okay. But yeah, you just have to have 1 at least, so you know, you can get yourself a mon that you can insta kill right away, or something that you can easily kill for your last price card. But yeah, so we're running 4 Nest Ball and 4 Ultra Ball here, since most of the mons are above 70 HP, so we can't really use Buddy Puffin, but we do have a version of it, so that's Hobbs bag. But that's only for Hots Pokemon. But you know, Nest Ball is basically a must-have, and Ultra Ball, same thing, especially if you're running like Archalodon build. So those 2 are some must-haves, so that's why we're running 4 copies of it. And then after that, we have Night Searcher and Artemezo. You want 2 copies. Night Searcher, I found out that, you know, sometimes you get screwed over, like you accidentally toss a bunch of your mons, so you want to pick it back up. Or sometimes you get unlucky with Professor Research, you know, toss out your Larios and stuff like that, so you can get a fresh hand. You know, you can, it's a good recovery tool. Super Rod is kind of too slow. Then after, Artemezo is a must-have, since you're gonna be researching a bunch of your energies and tossing them in the grave. And you know, Artemezo also toss, so if you already have 1 energy in your hand, discard it with Artemezo, and then you can get 2 extra, so you get 3 Artemezo, and then you can just equip 1 of them and then toss out the other one. So and then followed about Archalodon, so that's why. Okay, let's talk about the Ace Spec here, since a lot of people might be using a Trolley or Prime Catcher, but I like Secret Box, since it gives you 4 cards for discarding 3. So yeah, that's quite a lot, especially if you're trying to get yourself a bunch of stadium and equipment at the same time. And the only way for you to get it is from Secret Box right away. You can't really search it with Arven, since Arven doesn't give you, but we can use Chorus Tenacity, but I don't like that card since it's supporter. Secret Box will give you us, you know, 4 cards that I want, so I usually get myself Arven or Research, depending which one, but it's usually Research followed by Night Stretcher, followed by Hop's Choice Band and Postwick. So those items, it's a must-have in my hand. And then sometimes I, you know, already have energy, so I usually or I already have a Research. We can just use a Professor Toro to dump a bunch of Earth and Vessel in there, you know, so on and stuff like that. So I like Secret Box, so it gives us a way to pivot for the one I want. It's pretty self-explanatory here for the boosting for Choice Band and Postwick. Some people run a rescue board and stuff like that, but I find it's way too annoying, especially if you want to have 3 3 copies of each, especially the choice band for hubs, since sometimes you price card 2 of them and you're screwed, and if you price card all of them, your Zacian would be doing only 240, and 240 is way too low. And if you price card 2 the post wick also, it's kinda annoying. So yeah, you want to have the damage modifier as much as possible. That's why we're running 3 each, so you can't really go below that. Then after that, we're running 7 energies here for metal and then a jet energy. And the reason why jet energy is good is because it's a good way for you to get a mon from the bench into your active right away, especially when your Latias is not in play and stuff like that. So there's a lot of ways for us to get a bench mon. So there's a lot of switch. But the meta energy ratio is 7, just in case you price card like 3 of them. And price carding more than 3, not good. So that's why we're running 7. 7 is a good ratio. So and the problem that is we can't really search jet energy. But when we do have it, I used to run 3, but I went down to 1. So yeah, this ratio is a good half. So this is the deck he lists here, and yeah, it's pretty strong deck. Some people might not have a good chance because there's a lot more fire mon, and getting lock of that is kind of annoying. But either way, this deck is pretty strong. Your problem is gonna be a bunch of Archarodon. Sometimes you might get dead hand, so that's why you want to have draw power. And if you're going first, you're basically okay. But if you're facing against a Torbu deck, they can Torbu out a bunch of mons right away. You're basically gonna lose. And yeah, there's quite a lot more nowadays, especially in black and white era here. But yeah, next mon is probably gonna be interesting. But I'll see everyone later and have a good all day.